Hello, I wanted to show what I'm continuing in my Filofax and what new I have added to it. My to-do lists, my monthly to-do lists are still quite short, and I haven't even added anything to my July list. My daily to-do list is still this direction, and I'm doing less on that also. Maybe I'm getting caught up on everything. One thing I've added to my monthly chores is to make a Christmas card every month, because the Red Cross craft group that I belong to has a bazaar in December where they sell Christmas cards. So I thought if I started early enough, I could get more done. Then my checkoff lists are still the same. It's my health one, and this was supposed to be my daily to-do things, but I realize that next time I make one, I'm going to have to make these a bit bigger because it's hard to write on them. And the new things that I've added, the first one is a summer bucket list. I hadn't ever heard of them before, and you know how on YouTube on the side they have suggestions of videos for you to watch, and they're mostly, the ones that I found were mostly done by children or teenagers, but I thought it was a fun idea. So for my summer bucket list of 2014, I'm going to visit a city where there is a castle, bake the cracker recipe that I keep meaning to bake, make ice cream with my son when he gets back. There's an old car event that I went to a few years ago, and I enjoyed seeing all the cars, so I want to go again. Then there's going to be an international food market, and if it's not raining, I'll go. Visit my friend in her new apartment if she moves. And then I want to try doing a home manicure. The other thing that I started, I again clicked on a YouTube video that was presented on the side because it was called the Lapbook, and I was wondering what that was. It seems to be mostly homeschoolers who are doing that, or at least the videos I watched. It's a way of for children to gather information about different topics. And I was a bit disappointed that I hadn't come across that when my son was little. And I was wondering, how can I use it now? Because it just sounded like a fun idea. And I thought, well, maybe I could do some goals on that, or make my projects. So I started to think about how I could do it. And move this, sorry, I don't know if you'll be able to see. And I'm going to do an example. My example is to declutter. But this isn't enough. When you're setting a goal, you should also make it measurable. So if I just say declutter, then how am I going to measure that? And then we need to, sorry, my throat, my voice. And we also need to make a deadline. So let's say if we declutter the bedroom, well, if you're, for example, having guests coming and you want to declutter before they come, then you have a specific deadline. But if you want it done, for example, by the end of your holidays or before your holidays start, then you just choose the date that you want. So let's say declutter the bedroom by, well, if they're going to come around the holidays, by November 15th, 2014. Oops. So that's the first thing you have to do. It's measurable in that way that it's either going to be done or it's not going to be done, and you have a deadline so you know when it's going to be finished. And you've chosen your goal, which is declutter the bedroom. Then this would be the page that you would add to your Filofax or your planner. I just cut up an old envelope and I'm using that. So then you glue the top edge and stick it in your planner page. And the next thing you have to do is decide how you're going to declutter the bedroom. You could, where did I put my pen? Sorry. You could choose to declutter the window wall. Oops. The door wall. The blank wall. And then your fourth wall could be your closet wall. You need an action word. So in this case, I would put, my action word would be declutter. I won't do them all. Maybe you don't like doing it that way. Maybe you want to do specific areas. So for example, declutter closet, declutter dresser, then declutter, what else can we declutter? Sorry, you probably can't see under my, declutter desk, then declutter bed and night tables. There are two ways I thought of adding these to your goal sheet. You could, well, these are 4 different things, so they could go like this, and then underneath you could drop them down this way so that you would have your steps going down this way, or the next way I'll show you. Just glue this one in. So you're going to start with your bed and night tables. So that's your main goal for this area. Then we're going to have another step, which will be, for example, night table number 1. And if you have a drawer, a drawer, and then you have a shelf. So these are the, oh yeah, and the top of it, of course. These are the areas that you need to clean. Then you have your next step. To glue. Then we go on to night table number 2. And then maybe you have under your bed, you store stuff, so you want to go through that. So you can keep doing it this way, so you open and close like that. Or you can do one underneath the other. And if you're using Post-it notes and you're doing them underneath each other like this, then you can move them around. If you suddenly decide, well, I'm going to paint the night tables after all, so you could just move them down and paint the night tables when you need, where you need to put them. Then at the very, next to the very bottom, you can have a reward. Once you've got the bed and night tables done, maybe you could buy yourself new lamps for the night tables. And that would be your reward. Or you could just put the date when you finished it and you know it's done. So our final deadline was November 15th, so maybe we finish this on August 20th. And then you just go along like that with these other goals for decluttering. And then if you want, you could also add at the very, very bottom one covering up the whole bottom and put a reward for getting everything done. So maybe your biggest reward will be buy a new bed. I know it's, sorry, knocked the glue over. I know it's silly, but I just thought it might be fun to try. Something a bit different. So this is the one that I came up with, well, just as my example. Make a quilt for N's baby by September 30th, 2014. The baby's due in October, so this gives me enough time to get it done. Then I came up with, oh sorry, the light's not working. The three main steps that I could think of. So first is preparation, then sewing, and then finishing. And then I just wrote down the different steps. For preparation, I put choose the pattern, choose fabric, wash the fabric, cut out the pieces, change the needle in the sewing machine, wind the bobbin with the thread, and clean the dust from the machine. And I've already chosen my pattern, so that can be ticked off. I haven't put any any reward underneath here at the bottom because I think that it will be reward enough to get it finished, knowing me. Well, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.